folks, welcome to our Discover Ireland with Target Tours and Royal Irish Tours. We got a few more people that are coming on here, so we'll give a few more minutes and we will start our presentation.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. Fáilte, as they say in Ireland.
Yep.
And probably in many of the provinces too.
So just for a reminder, everybody, when you're coming on, just please in the comment section, tell us where you're calling in from. Lindsay's in the background. She'll be giving you a nice hello. And this also the spot. If you have any questions, you can put your questions in there.
And probably in many of the provinces too.
What was that, Jonathan? Sorry.
I think that was my voice on your Facebook. So I don't know if you want to mute your Facebook.
Yeah, I just did.
Yeah.
Do it again. There's Linda Judge from Dartmouth. Hi, Linda. Welcome.
Hi, Linda.
We'll just give a few more minutes and start our presentation. So we can, we should be probably about 30, 45 minutes, do you think, Jonathan?
Yeah, in and around. Yeah, 30 minutes is lots.
Yeah. Wonderful.
I'll just give kind of the highlights, some of the beautiful properties, and a bit about Ireland.
Yeah,
and,
perfect.
Time for questions.
Wonderful. We got Alan on. Hi, Alan. Perfect. So, Jonathan, I think we're going to start. We'll let people join us as we go along. So, my name is John Dunphy with Target Tours, and it gives me great pleasure to introduce everyone to Jonathan Sargent from Royal Irish Tours. Welcome, Jonathan.
Thank you, John. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining.
So if you can't make out from Jonathan's accent, he is from Ireland. So where did you grow up, Jonathan?
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Dublin, so capital of Ireland. And then my mother was from Donegal, so spent a lot of my summers up there, and then emigrated to Canada in my early 20s. So I've been here 11 plus years now. So yeah, still haven't lost the accent though. I don't think I ever will.
No. And it's we've had the pleasure of working together for a few trips. So we did our 2 Ireland trips last year, back 2 days right after the other, and both went over extremely well. So great product. Both our tour directors, Gary and Merv, have spoken well about the product and how much you see and how great the service and the guides were with Royal Irish Tours. So it's great to see that, Jonathan.
Yeah, absolutely. We're delighted to be hosting you guys again this year. So very excited.
And we're so excited because this year, John and Lynn get to exercise their right to pick a tour. So we'll be the tour leaders from Target Tours on this tour. So we're quite excited. And it's our first time to be in Ireland. So we're excited about it.
That's great.
Perfect. So Jonathan, I'll let you take away the presentation.
Perfect. Okay. Hello again, everyone. Thank you for joining. So as I said, we're very excited to be partnering with Target Tours as their partner on the ground in Ireland to put together this great tour. And one of the big advantages of going with Target is that, as you said, you have John and Lynn traveling with you. As well as them, you'll have Royal Irish Tours guide or tour manager who's absolutely fantastic. He or she, they'll been working with us at least 10 years. And they'll always have great stories and they'll really add to the trip. And then, of course, a driver as well. So you have 4 people with you on the tour. So that really makes a big difference. And there are some companies that go out with just a driver guide for 30 plus people. We certainly don't do that. So it's fantastic to have. Yeah. So just a bit about who Royal Irish Tours are, just to give you an idea of who John and Target are working with. We are a family owned and operated business. Irish roots very much run deep. So our owner, Ian Duffy, was born and raised in Ireland, in Dublin, fell in love with a Canadian and moved here over 30 years ago. Started Royal Irish Tours back in 2001, and we've gone from strength to strength since then. And coach tour is very much our specialty, and Ireland is definitely our specialty too. So very much a family business. While I'm not part of the family, I certainly feel like part of the family, and they treat everyone very well. And 4 of the Duffys work full time for the business. So you're certainly in good hands with a small family business. We're very excited that our 2023 season has begun. Our first tour went out middle of April. So we're very excited for that. And that'll run right through till the 3rd week of October. And so that's absolutely fantastic. I actually took this middle of March last year. So John, before the tour, was kind of asking what the weather's like. You never really know what you're going to get in Ireland, but definitely September, when this tour is being run, is probably our most popular month. You know, you normally get pretty decent weather. You're looking at 15 to 20 by day. It might get a little colder at night, down to maybe 10 degrees. So we definitely recommend layers when you go there. But this was me, middle of March. We were 15 degrees weather at the Cliffs of Moher. So we always recommend layers in Ireland. Bring a light rain jacket or anorak, because you might see a bit of rain. We've got 40 shades of green for a reason. But September, the weather should be in and around 20 degrees by day, which is great. So what's the difference with Royal Irish Tours and this particular tour? So we tried to do 2-night stays where possible, and that's the big, so you're not packing and unpacking your bags every day. So for example, on this lovely 12-day, 11-night tour, we do 2 nights in Belfast, in the beautiful 5-star Culloden Hotel, 2 nights in a luxury Irish castle, Kilronan, 2 nights down in Killarney, and 2 nights in Kildare. So there's only 2 one-nighters on the whole 10 nights you're in Ireland, and both of those nights are very centrally located, and so that makes a big difference. You're right on the main street in Waterford, at the Granville Hotel, and then in Galway, in the Hardiman. You couldn't be in a better location, and right on Ayr Square. And the Hardiman is a new addition to this tour. So previously it was in the Lodge at Ashford, which is in a small little town or village kind of outside of Galway. But this way you're kind of right in the heart of the city on your 1-night tour. So that makes a big difference. And then you have your dinner included. So that's definitely a highlight of this tour as well. But the 2 nights in those luxury hotels makes a big difference. And I'll kind of show you some of the properties now, and you'll get a feel for why it's great to have 2 nights in them.
Yeah.
We have more included experiences as well. So, and I know Target Tours would do that too. So, you know, you're not being nickel and dimed on the tour. You're not spending much extra on the tour. Quite a lot of your evening meals are included, which I'll show you a bit later, but all your attraction visits. I always like to include Titanic Belfast picture here, just to give you an idea. And some tour companies would sell this as an optional experience for $50 or $60. But it really is something that should always be included on your tour. So we make sure it's included on the tour. And you see 9 galleries. You see what it was like as a first-class passenger on board, as a third-class passenger. They actually have a new exhibition now where they actually have some artifacts from the Titanic. So they restored, they have a chair, a sun deck chair that was actually on the ship, and also a couple of violins. And it's a really, really cool exhibition. So it's amazing. And obviously there's so many links, especially to the Maritimes. It's a really, really fantastic experience, but you know, you're in good hands, and all your attraction visits are included throughout the tour as well. Group size as well. This is another big benefit of this tour. So 28 guests maximum are going to be on this tour, and that's including John and Lynn. So as I said, there's going to be 4 people with you. So 2 Target Tours people, 2 Royal Irish Tours people. So that really is a great group size. It is a 35-seater coach with the washroom on board. So it is very comfortable. There is a bit of space on board for spreading out, and washroom for emergencies. Of course, in Ireland, you're never longer than an hour and a half without making a comfort stop or a sightseeing stop or something. It's a pretty small country. So I'll give you an idea when I show you the map in a moment or two. And what really sets us apart, we always say, is our guides. As I said, most of them with us 10 plus years. Here's a picture of 4 of our wonderful female guides. We have about 12 or 14 guides that are kind of full-time for us throughout the season, and they do the ad hoc stuff in the off season, but they really do add to the trip. They have so much wonderful knowledge. Many are retired school teachers, some are historians and geologists, so they always have a kind of different angle that they'll talk about, but they really do add to the trip, and they're so knowledgeable about the destination, and so proud to be telling you about their lovely home country too. So this is the itinerary you'll be doing. So the Manor Royal, so the 12 days, 11 nights, that would include your flights. So your 10 nights actually in Ireland, So arriving into Dublin, Dublin Airport, and then going north up to Belfast, where you'll spend your first 2 nights. Then on the second day, you do a lovely day trip up to the Causeway, going on the beautiful giant Causeway and the Causeway coastal route. Then you have kind of a day in Belfast. Then you come across the country to the beautiful town of Enniskillen before 2 nights in the luxury Kilronan Castle. Lovely day tour, then going to Donegal, Sligo region, and then back to the castle, and then coming down to the beautiful Connemara and into Galway, and where you'll be staying for a night right in the heart of Galway city. Then coming down the Wild Atlantic Way, Cliffs of Moher, get the boat across the Shannon Estuary for 2 nights in Killarney, and then a lovely day touring the Ring of Kerry, then through Blarney and Cork en route to Waterford, and before your final 2 nights in the beautiful K Club in County Kildare, with a nice day trip into Dublin. So I'll show you pictures of that beautiful property shortly. So the dates are September 13th to 24th, 2023. So the pricing is listed there, and that includes your return airfare from PEI, New Brunswick, or Nova Scotia, which is great to have that all included, because I know, especially from the east these days, it's difficult getting to Europe.
Yeah, it can be expensive. We're finding that the airfares are a little bit higher than what we've expected pre-COVID, but we do have an offer on this tour as well. So if you book on before, oh my God, for the next couple of weeks, then we'll be offering that 150 off. So that's a bit of incentive for everybody book. And really, we're close to being, I think we maybe have 6 seats left. Yeah, between 6 and 8. We know we have a couple of people that are interested, almost ready to sign up. So it's not something that you want to wait on any much longer, because it might be gone. Jonathan, so we arrive in Dublin on around 8:15, 8:30 on that morning of the 14th. So can you kind of from the airport, how long is it to our first stop?
Yeah, exactly. So you come out of, you'll be at Terminal 1 in Dublin Airport. So, it's a pretty small airport as international airports go. So you should be out and about by 9:15. Your guide and driver will be waiting there with the RIT sign, Royal Irish Tour sign. So once you're all there, or if some of you get out earlier, you'll be escorted to the coach parking. Unfortunately, at Dublin Airport, all the coaches have to park it's about a 400-meter walk from when you come out of Terminal 1. But then once you get your bag on the coach, your porterage is included for the rest of the tour, so you don't have to worry about your bags after that. And of course, if you need help once you come out of D1, our guide and driver will be able to help you as well. Then our first stop is the Manor pub, which is a 15th century pub where you'll have kind of a breakfast / lunch. So we'll probably get there about shortly after 10 a.m. So that's only about 15 or 20 minutes from the airport. It used to be like an old coach stop on the horse and cart trail from kind of Dublin up to Belfast. So it's really cool old pub, kind of kind of in the middle of nowhere, but it's really, really cool. There's so much great history, and you get a bit of a history lesson on your first stop there. And then you're about an hour 40 to Belfast from there. So we really don't include too much else that day, just get you to the beautiful 5-star hotel where you're going to spend your first 2 nights. Kind of mid-afternoon you should be arriving, early afternoon, kind of 2 o'clock-ish, maybe into Culloden.
And so the first couple of nights, so we are in Northern Ireland, which is the Great British Pounds. Should they bring some currency with them, or do they need currency, British pounds?
Yeah, I mean, credit card is widely accepted everywhere, but I always like to have a few pounds. Often it's easier in some of the pubs, if they're busy, if you're buying a drink, to have the cash instead. But really, I mean, any £50 is probably enough for the first 2 days. Like, it's quite a lot included when you're in Northern Ireland. So having a lot of currency isn't a big issue. In the border kind of areas, euro is accepted, but you'll get your change back in pounds. So better off maybe having 50 or 100 pounds with you, if you want to bring some pounds, and then kind of 8 days of the tour in the Republic of Ireland. So maybe have a couple of hundred euro with you if you want to have cash. But as I said, credit cards pretty much accepted everywhere, and not a big issue there.
And it's something you might not have, if you want some when you're there, you might not have time to make change or go to a bank when you're there in Belfast. So just bring a small supply of 40 or 50 pounds with you if you want to use. But again, it's not a big deal if you can't get them. So
yeah, and the thing is, when you take money out of a cash machine in Ireland, I know my Canadian bank charges me a $5 charge, and then they kind of screw you a little on the exchange rate. So I always recommend having a bit with you. You know, for example, if you're getting taxis in some places, while they're supposed to accept credit cards, some will say the machine's not working or something. So sometimes it's just easier to have a bit of cash. Now, there's not too many places where you would need to be getting a taxi, but just it's good to have a little small supply of cash with you.
Perfect. If you have any questions, please just put them in the comments. I know a couple of people are on here are looking at or going on the trip. So if you have any questions for Jonathan, for meals, for the meals that aren't included, say lunches and maybe the dinners, what can anybody expect to pay for, say in euro?
Yeah, in euro, I mean, for lunch, you're looking at 10 to 15 euro max for a decent like soup and a sandwich or fish and chips in a bar or something in any of the small towns. So you get even cheaper if you're just grabbing a roll or a sandwich at a deli. So 10 to 15 euro for lunches. And then 25 to 30 euro you're kind of looking at for your dinner, I would say. And that would include maybe a glass of wine for 2 courses. So yeah, maybe 40 euro if you're including like a 3-course meal in any of the free spots. In Killarney and Belfast, lots of really, really great options on those free nights there. So definitely some good options. But yeah, they're the only really extras that you would need cash for as well. Tipping then, any of the meals that are included on this tour, the tips and gratuities are all looked after for that. But kind of 10% would be the norm if you're in any restaurants. People don't expect tips when you're at a bar. You have to order at the bar if you're getting a drink. So when you go up and you try to give them a euro or two, sometimes they return it to you because they're not really sure what's going on. But they're kind of getting used to it now and they'll happily accept the money, but it's not expected to tip when you're just getting a pint or a glass of wine at the bar.
Okay, perfect. The weather, you mentioned about the weather, but what kind of temperatures would we be looking at for middle of September?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say a high of like 20 to 22 or 3 would be kind of the high, but more seasonally you're getting about kind of 15 to 17 by day. And then down to about 10, 15 at night. So it can get down to 10 o'clock some of the evenings, especially in, Galway. It's always a little wilder weather on the west. And that Connemara day, I did it last year. It was an amazing day, but like we nearly got blown away with the wind. And then 10 minutes later, it was sunny and beautiful rainbows and stuff. So, so you might get a few more chilly days, but kind of 17 degrees would be the average by day, and then at night at 10 degrees. So definitely recommend layers for the evening and bring a wrap as well, as I said, as you might get a bit of rain on your adventure at some stage.
Awesome. No, that's we're looking forward to it. And we did make a change this year. Instead of staying in Cong at the Ashford Castle, we decided we want to stay in Galway and give everybody a little bit of extra time in Galway that they could experience after the tour. We'll have a walking tour and just experience the afternoon in Galway.
Yeah, absolutely. And Galway is a fantastic city. Again, we were there on a tour last March, and you're right in Eyre Square at the Hardiman. And there's a really great street called Shop Street, which has lots of really, really fantastic bars that have amazing live Irish music. Anyone who is feeling romantic and wants to buy a Claddagh ring, and there's a really cool shop called Tom Dillon's that actually has a little Claddagh museum actually in the shop, and has Claddagh rings from like the 12th, 10th century. And it's a really, really interesting little shop, and you can also buy the Claddagh ring, which is the famous ring from Galway.
Awesome. That's excellent. So that we don't have any questions yet, but the itinerary, so we're all set for September 13th, departing from Oliver Gateway, Charlottetown, Fredericton, Moncton, Halifax. We even have some people coming from Ottawa and as far as ways as Denver, Colorado, so joining us. So we're excited about that. And I think we, as I mentioned before, we got between 6 and 8 seats left. That if you're interested in coming along with us, please let us know. Let Lindsay or Caitlin know that you do have some interest, so we can put your names aside and get back to you whenever things start filling up. Jonathan, have we missed anything that we for informational purposes?
No, I've just put the inclusions up there just to give you an idea. So
Yeah.
The 10 days, you know, quite a lot included, just to give you an idea. So you have 3 nights, three evening meals are not included. So one when you're at the beautiful K Club, where there's a few great restaurant options on site, or you can go to the nearby town of Straffan. You can borrow bikes, or it's about a 20-minute walk to the village of Straffan. The Straffan Inn is a great little pub, which is actually owned by the hotel. And then there's a few little restaurants in town, and then Galway, oh sorry, not Galway, Killarney, and lots of really fantastic options there, as well as Belfast. And the rest of your meals are well, dinners and breakfasts are all included, and a few lovely extras as well, like a distillery visit, a walking tour of Galway, which I'll talk about a bit more in a moment.
Perfect. All right. Well, listen, Jonathan, I think what we can do is let everybody know that if they do have questions on this tour, please give us a call at the office, send us an email, and we'll certainly get back to you. But we're looking forward to getting back to Ireland. Lynn and I are very much looking forward to getting to see this Emerald Isle, and hopefully we'll be able to. My roots, the Dunphy roots, come from Kilkenny, so nice. I'm looking forward to looking up some of that if I can in some of the gift stores. Look at that, Kilkenny. We'll be close.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well, I have a few slides here. I'll just go through kind of the properties. So as I said, the luxury hotels are definitely a big plus of this tour. So this picture here is of the Culloden, which is probably the best hotel in Northern Ireland, a really beautiful 5-star hotel. So you'll have 2 nights at this property, which is definitely a highlight. These are the rooms, what the rooms look like in the Culloden. So you'll have 6 nights on this itinerary at beautiful 5-star accommodation, as well as 2 nights, which will be nights 3 and 4 at the beautiful Kilronan Castle, seen there in the picture. And here you have a luxury fine dining experience both nights when you're there. So that's definitely a big plus of this tour. Breakfast with a view at the Dunlow. This is where you'll have your breakfast at the Dunlow, overlooking some of the lakes of Killarney. I'm just going to say the mountains in the background. You guys are Canadian. 2 hills in the background there. Really, really beautiful hotel. It's a little outside Killarney on the Dunlow Road, but it's absolutely amazing. And the service here is incredible. So you'll get a beautiful fine dining experience there, and then 2 amazing breakfasts while you're there as well. And again, those accommodations really do add to the trip. And then, of course, the final 2 nights in the beautiful K Club. So the Kildare Club is the full name, became famous around the, well, in North America in 2006 when it hosted the Ryder Cup. So there are 2 championship golf courses on it, but it really is an amazing hotel in the beautiful little town of a village of Straffan. So it's really a resort of its own. You can easily not leave this place for 2 days. And there is a day trip into Dublin, as I said, on the final day. But we've had people in the past, you know, opt not to go into Dublin and just miss that day because they want to experience this property a bit more. But you will have a free evening the first night to explore the great restaurant options. There's casual dining at the golf club, or there's more fine dining in one of the restaurants, or there's a nice pub in the main building as well. So a really, really beautiful place to spend your final 2 nights. And again, they really do add to the trip, these accommodations. So just briefly, kind of some of the things you'll do. So as I said, I went kind of through the itinerary, so I won't go through too much, but you arrive and then you're heading north. So the first 2 nights will be in Northern Ireland, and you get to learn a bit about the history of the Troubles. I actually took this picture in the background here of Bobby Sands, who was a member of the IRA and died of hunger strike back in the 80s and during Margaret Thatcher's reign. But it's just amazing to see how far Northern Ireland has come in such a short time. So that was only 40 something years ago. And it's just incredible to see how far, especially Belfast in particular, has come. And your guides will really bring that to life. And it's just amazing to see what it used to be like and how far it's come. You'll see the Protestant Shankill roads and the Catholic Fall roads. There's still a giant 60-foot wall that separates Protestant and Catholic communities, which is more of a symbol nowadays. People graffiti it and sign it when they're there. But it's just incredible to see how far Northern Ireland has come, and Belfast definitely a highlight of this tour. And going up the Giant's Causeway, beautiful UNESCO World Heritage Site of the Giant's Causeway. And this is one of the best driving routes in all of Ireland, traveling up the northwest coast, up the Causeway Coastal Route. So it's a lovely drive all the way up to the Causeway. And you'll get a lovely guided tour at the Giant's Causeway, and you get to see the UNESCO World Heritage Site. So it is about an 800-meter walk down. So we normally walk down because it's downhill, and then there's an option to get a £1 bus back up. So this is what you need cash for if you want to get the bus back up, because it is run by a local bus company. So it's £1 to get the bus back up. And so we normally do a guided walking tour down, but anyone with mobility issues is happy to get the bus down and back. And then you have free time in any of the cities as well. And I know John's added Galway, which is fantastic. So you'll have kind of a free afternoon to explore all Belfast City has to offer. And your guide will be able to give you lots of great options, and then a free evening in Belfast. And then Titanic, I touched on earlier, so I won't touch too much on that. But you do Titanic the morning of day 3. And then we head over to a highlight of the trip, 2 nights at the beautiful Kilronan Castle. And I talked a bit about food, but the food in Ireland is something that's really come along in kind of the last 15 or 20 years. And you'll really get a feel for this when you're at Kilronan Castle with 2 fine dining experiences in their beautiful, beautiful restaurants on site. Day 5, now I actually included this picture here. This is Durlock Valley. So it looks a bit eerie and dark there, but it's absolutely incredible area in Connemara. So this is probably the most scenic day of the tour, traveling through Connemara en route to Galway. And it's just absolutely amazing. You travel that little road there. I don't even know how they built that road, kind of through kind of boglands. You'll see wild sheep just wandering. It's really eerie when it gets like this, but then when the sun comes out, it's absolutely incredible. And definitely a highlight of the trip, kind of traveling down that west coast. This is a picture a travel agent took when she was on our tour in Connemara when they pulled in as well. But beautiful colors. You'll get lots of browns and darker greens up kind of the northwest of Ireland, and more lush rolling hills in County Down and on the east coast. And then you get 40 shades of green down in the southwest. Galway City then, normally on arrival, we'll meet our guide Fiona. And she brings us on about an hour-long tour around, and you'll get an idea of the city, and then you'll have lots of free time to explore. It's great that we've included Galway on this, because we often don't include Galway, and a lot of people's feedback often is we would have liked more time in Galway. So that's partly why it's included this tour. I think that was some feedback from last year. So Galway being included is absolutely fantastic. And as I said, the Hardiman Hotel, right in the heart of the city, couldn't be in a better location. So Galway has lots to offer when you're there. And the next day, coming down to see the beautiful Cliffs of Moher. And again, photos don't do this justice, so you'll have an absolutely fantastic time there. This is another very scenic day, going through beautiful villages like Ballyvaughan and stopping in Doolin, which is just beside the Cliffs of Moher, before traveling over the coach ferry across the water and down to Killarney, where you're going to spend 2 nights. And you'll do a beautiful full day touring the Ring of Kerry. And again, it's hard for photos to do it justice. There's great little towns and villages along the way. You'll do a nice lunch stop in one of them, Sneem or Kenmare, or one of the nice towns along the way. Lots of photo stops. And it really is a beautiful day. And then some free time to explore Killarney, which is definitely a highlight of the trip, having 2 nights down in Killarney. It's kind of put on the map when Queen Victoria visited there, when she visited Ireland back in the day. So it's been welcoming tourists long before anywhere else in the world was considered a tourism destination. And that's partly why Killarney is kind of the home of Irish tourism. So it's a really beautiful area. Then as we travel back up for our final 2 nights in Kildare, we'll go over to Waterford for a night, which is Ireland's oldest city, founded by Vikings over 800 years ago. So along the way, we'll stop at Blarney Castle and Gardens, and we'll have a music session at the Marine Bar as just before you come in to Waterford. So you'll have a chance to learn a bit about, making an Irish coffee, have a drink, and see a bit of live Irish music in a traditional Irish pub. So that's very cool as well. And before arriving into Ireland's oldest city. For those who want to kiss the Blarney Stone, you can. You have to bend over backwards in the top right picture there. And there's a helper to thing. A lot of people now since COVID have been headbutting it rather than kissing it. So I don't know if you get the gift of the gab though if you headbutt it, but that's something some people like to do. And then you can explore Blarney Castles and Gardens, which are fantastic. But there is an optional cost to climb up to kiss the stone. I think it's €12. But lots of people just like to see the castle and gardens. There's a nice little tea house there. And you'll have a bit of free time there. Then after that Waterford night, you'll come up to learn a bit about the famine and at Dunbrody famine ship, which is a really very moving experience. This is a replica of the ship that would have taken people over to the likes of Halifax and Newfoundland and New York, Australia and places during the times of the famine. So they would have first class passengers on board. There'd be one room for like a family of 4 or 5, and there'd be like 50 or 60 down below, and these like 6 or 12 to a bed. So you actually have an actor on board, an actress, and he or she will pretend she's a 3rd class passenger, come out dressed like that, and then in character, and then come back as a 1st class passenger. So it's a very interactive experience, but you see names of people who would have traveled, and you'll often see lots of last names of people you might know or people in your area. So it's a very moving experience, and you kind of go on to an exact replica ship. This would have taken basically goods from South America and places over to Ireland. And then from Ireland, they were sending people back. So they weren't built for passengers, but obviously people were escaping a horrific time back in the 1800s. So it's a very moving experience. And then going to Rusborough House, which is seen the other side of that. These are the fancy manor houses that would have been owned by dukes and things from the UK. But there's a lot of these beautiful manor houses, and Rusborough House is one of the finest, beautiful art collection there. You get a lovely guided tour. And a lot of these, when Ireland got its independence, were given back to the States. So many are run by the state, and they're beautiful places to visit. And then your final night, you'll have 2 nights in that beautiful K Club, but the final night is the lovely Irish Hoolie at Johnny Fox's pub with dinner and entertainment. So you'll get dancers, singers, people playing the fiddle and singing. Anyone who wants to get up and dance certainly can do so. And you get a lovely traditional Irish meal in one of Ireland's best pubs. The highest pub in Ireland, it often claims it is. I'm not sure it is, but it's certainly the highest pub in Dublin. So a really, really nice way to kind of finish off the tour. And then you get a free day before you do that in Dublin's Fair City. So Pierce Lyons Distillery is a fantastic distillery that will be included that day. It's actually in an old church. So definitely highlight going tasting Pierce Lyons whiskey while in a church. Feels like that's not something you should be doing, but it's certainly something that's very unique. And then you'll have plenty of time to do a bit of shopping, go to Trinity College and see anything else you would like in Dublin's Fair City. And the final day, after an early breakfast, we transferred to the airport for your return flight. So that's just a quick overview of some of the highlights. I didn't want to go too much into it, don't want to give too much away. During your lunch stops, there's lots of little great towns and villages that between John, Lynn and the guide, they will decide along the way. And lots of other kind of hidden gems along the way that are added as you go. So yeah, that's just a quick overview. Open to any questions if there are any, or if John has anything else to add, but a big thank you to everyone.
Yeah, no, I just had a comment from Gary. Just the Marine Bar was a wonderful Irish experience. So I think probably one of the highlights of his trip.
Nice, great to hear.
No, I don't think there's any questions, Jonathan. I appreciate your time. It was a good, informative. Everybody, we've got six to eight seats left. So please, if you are at all interested, let us know, and we'd love to have you join us. So on behalf of Lynn and myself and the team here at Target Tours, thank you, Jonathan, for a great presentation again. And we look forward to our trip in Ireland. So
Thank you, John. Thank you, everyone. Look
all
forward
right. Great. Thanks very much.
Cheers.
Bye.